Hi, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I'm back with this week's No Filter Q&A. This is the episode where I answer all questions related to diet, training, and supplementation that I received over the last 7 days from our in-house clients, online clients, as well as a few of our online followers. Remember, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, workout program, supplements you are currently taking, not taking, or considering taking, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. All right, let's get started with this week's No Filter Q&A with question number 1. Nick, is it okay to train abs every day? I'm really trying to get a six-pack right now. Listen, is it okay to train your abs every day? Sure. Are you going to overtrain them? Probably. But are you going to see results from training your abs every day? No. I mean, if you wanted to train your abs every day, I mean, I guess you could do your transverse abdominals one day, your rectus abdominals the next day, and then your intercostals and obliques the following day, and then repeat in a 3-day fashion. Problem with that is you're never letting your muscles recover. It's like training your chest every day, your back every day, biceps, and so on, right? So the way I tell clients to train their abs is train them like any other muscle group once, maybe twice a week, okay? Now, if you want your abs to show, to pop, right? You want to see that definition in the transverse abdominals with the rectus abdominals and tied in with your intercostals and obliques. You have to make sure that A, your diet's in check, and B, that your cardio's in check. Okay. Your abs are only going to show when your body fat levels are low enough to show your midsection. Okay. So you can have a great set of abs, but if there's a layer of fat covering those abs, you're never going to see them. I've talked about this in the past that some of my clients who had the strongest cores actually have quite high body fat levels. Now that could be because their diet's not the best, they drink every day, but they have really strong cores because in the gym they do a lot of heavy intense lifting. We do a lot of core stability work, so their cores are very strong. And I always tell them, like, if you just cleaned up your diet, laid off the alcohol, did a little bit more cardio, you'd have a great set of abs under there. Okay, that layer of fat that's hiding them. Now, another thing too to remember too is abs come down to genetics, right? So some people, you'll notice some people have 8-packs, whereas some people, even with very low body fat levels, it's very hard to see the definition in the midsection. Some people have wider torsos. Some people have more narrow torsos, right? It's the same thing with chest. Some people have wider clavicles, so they have big chests, right? You see guys with massive chests, and you see guys who can lift really heavy on the bench press, but they have smaller chests. That's just genetics. Okay. So I wouldn't advise you to train your abs every day. Could you do it? Sure. I don't think you're going to injure yourself by training your abs every day. I don't recommend training things like chest and back and shoulders every day, but you could probably get away with doing a little bit of ab work, not too much high volume, maybe 3 to 6 sets. And like I said, do the transverse abdominals one day, do the rectus abdominals the next day, intercostals and obliques is the third day, and then repeat. It's probably not going to hurt. But like I said, it's not going to get you any better results if you just stick to training them once or twice a week. Okay. That's my opinion. Do what you will with it. But again, it comes down to cardio and diet. That's what's going to make your midsection really pop. All right. Next question. Nick, with AIs taking on so many jobs. Oh, sorry. Nick, with AIs taking away so many jobs from people, do you think that they will eventually replace personal trainers in the gym? No. I don't think AIs are going to replace personal trainers or coaches. Okay. I know there's a lot of these coaching apps out there now, a lot of these fit apps that are free, and they build up these communities to support one another. But when it comes down to working with a trained, licensed, experienced, knowledgeable coach or trainer, no AI is going to compete with that. Okay. Because any AI can just regurgitate out a generic training program, a generic nutritional plan, right? You plug in your body weight, your activity level, blah, 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 and it'll give you a program, but it's generic, right? Where it comes down to customizing the program for you and troubleshooting the program for you, once you hit a plateau, that's where you need to work with an actual person. Okay, preferably someone who has some experience and knowledge when it comes to dietary nutrition and exercise science, right? Knows their anatomy and physiology, right? So I don't think AI can ever replace that. And it's so important to remember that, because there's so many people that they'll join these free apps, these free fitness apps, and they'll follow these programs that are designed for the masses. And then when they hit a plateau, they go, well, what do I do now? Well, you can't keep following the same program. It's no longer working for you. And this is why it's so important to work with a reputable, knowledgeable coach that can take your physique and say, okay, this is the problem. This is what we need to change with the diet. This is what we need to revise in the training program. This is what we need to revamp on your supplement protocol. Boom, 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 put it all together, and then you start seeing results again. And AI cannot do that. Okay, it can't. So I'm not worried about AIs ever taking my job away. There are some trainers out there that I would warn them, though, if they're giving out generic programs like a lot of people do these days, they're in trouble. Because why pay $500 for a generic training program that you can easily get an AI to spit out for you, right? So again, this is why I always take a very customized approach with every single person I work with. If I get a new client, I want a history on that client. I want to know that client's training background. I want to know their health history. Do they have any injuries, right? I want to know what their lifestyle looks like. Do they have an active job? Do they have a sedentary job? What's their goal? Do they want to lose weight, gain weight? How much weight do they want to lose? How much weight do they want to gain, right? How much time are they willing to put into the gym realistically? And are we tracking progress? Okay, so I don't think an AI can take this job away from trainers. It's one of those jobs, it's not recession proof, but I do think it's AI proof. Like I said, there's always going to be people out there that will sign up for these free coaching apps or free fitness apps. And you know what? If that helps you just stay accountable, great. But if you're really serious about, transforming your physique and improving your health, my recommendation, and it's not a plug-in for me here. I'm saying for anyone who, if you don't live in Vancouver, British Columbia, and you want to work with a trainer in person, it's so beneficial. It really is. Okay. So I'm not worried about AI taking my job, nor am I worried about AI having much of an impact on the fitness industry as a whole, because I do know that people who want to take their results to the next level and who take their training program seriously and their dietary nutrition seriously, they want to work with a person, an actual person who has a track record, a proven track record, time and time again, testimonials, reviews on Google to show time and time again what this person has done with other people to help them take their physiques to the next level, their health to the next level. And AI can't replace that. All right. Okay. Nick, I want to clean up my diet and I'm considering starting with a juice cleanse just for a week to help kickstart this process. Are there any juices you can recommend I use? There are no juices I can recommend you to use because I do not recommend that you do this. Listen, if you want to clean up your diet, just start cleaning up your diet. You don't need to go on these fasts. You don't need to go on these cleanses. You just need to start cleaning up your diet. Okay. Put down the junk food, right? Start eating cleaner, healthier, whole foods. You don't have to make this huge dramatic 180. I've worked with people who are sugar addicts, and they'll tell you the first 2-3 weeks that I'm working with them, a lot of the time I let them keep certain foods in their diet. Like if I'm working with someone who has chocolate every day, I don't just take it out of their diet. I start to take it down though. If someone's having chocolate 3 times a day, I might say, you can have it 2 times a day. But for the other time that you're having chocolate, I want you to have peanut butter. I want you to have almonds. I want you to have oatmeal. Like find a replacement, right? And so I'm meeting someone halfway. And then slowly, as we start to take out the processed sugar, adding in more natural sugar, more complex carbohydrates, healthy fats, lean protein sources, we eventually are able to rid the body of that processed sugar addiction, right? So I don't recommend doing these dramatic changes. You don't need to. I understand that, when someone's really fed up with maybe the way that they look, the way that they feel, they're not really feeling good about themselves. They feel like, I need to do a complete 180. And I'll tell you what, the people that do that, very rarely do they succeed. They might be successful for 3 to 4 weeks. Hell, they might even last for 3 months, but they eventually go back to old habits. Okay, because it's not sustainable. Whereas if you do it slowly and you make little changes, little tweaks along the way, little changes in your diet, little changes in your training program, little changes in your supplement protocol, those little changes add up to big changes. And I understand that sounds super cringy, super cliche. I get it. But you have to remember, though, it does work. We know this blueprint works. Okay. This is the blueprint that I use with clients, especially clients who are not used to following a clean diet, are going to the gym 4 to 5 times a week. These are big changes you're making in your life. Okay. And don't forget too, the older you are, the harder it becomes to make these changes. So if you're someone who's new to the gym and you're in your late 50s, early 50s, this is a big change for you because you spent the last 40 plus years being either inactive or maybe you were playing other sports, but the gym is a new concept to you. Eating a clean diet is a new concept to you. So little changes are better than one big change. Okay. And I promise you, like very rarely have I ever seen anyone who's been able to make a complete 180 overnight and been able to sustain that type of training program and diet plan. Rarely, if ever. You're setting yourself up for failure. Okay. So my recommendation, don't do the juice cleanse, especially because of all the sugar in the juice cleanse. This is another thing. I was talking to a client about this last week about these juice cleanses. They're loaded with sugar and people say, well, they're natural sugar. Sure, but you still have to remember, as I always say, for men, no more than 30 grams of sugar per day. For women, no more than 25 grams of sugar per day. And I'm talking natural sugar. If you're drinking juice all day, you're going to surpass 25 grams of sugar. You're going to surpass 30 grams of sugar. So I would not recommend doing that type of nutritional plan. Okay. What I would recommend doing is working with a trainer or coach or dietitian, nutritionist that can help revamp your nutritional plan. Look at what you're doing right now and help you wean off the bad habits and incorporate more good habits. Okay. But these fads like fasting or the juice cleanses, they don't work long term. Okay. And for the people that swear by them, there's always going to be 1 out of 100 people where something works for, of course, but they're few and far in between. So do what works for the majority of people, which is make those small changes, which will equate to big changes in months to years to come. Okay. All right, next question. Nick, what do you think about private gyms offering inclusive training for everyone? I think this would be a good concept for people who are intimidated or feel they are being judged due to their weight or inexperience with working out. Okay, I'm not sure if I fully understand this question. So I'm going to assume by inclusive training, you mean that services that are open to everyone. And I can tell you right now, from working at private training facilities, one of the reasons why a lot of people who are intimidated to go to these large commercial gyms, maybe it's due because they are overweight, right? They are embarrassed. They don't feel good about themselves. They don't know what they're doing. They don't want to feel like an idiot doing some exercise wrong. That's the reason why a lot of those people go to private gyms to work with a trainer or work in a small group class setting. So they don't have to deal with the busyness of a big commercial franchise gym, right? Now, I think some gyms have taken it too far. Like you look at some gyms like, what is that gym? Not Anytime Fitness. There's a gym in the States that's Planet Fitness. And, they have pastries. I think they offer pastries to their clients every Friday of the week or every second Friday of the week. And to me, I'm like, that's ridiculous. Okay. They also have what they call a lunk alarm, right? So someone drops a weight or makes a loud noise, this alarm goes off and they come in, they talk to the person. Sometimes they kick the person out. They're trying to create, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to create an environment that's not intimidating. They're trying to make sure that bodybuilders don't come into their gym. And listen, I mean, if you're intimidated to go to the gym, okay, you have to remember that I've worked in gyms for 20 years. And remember this, everyone who goes to the gym had to start from somewhere. Okay. Not everyone started in the gym with a great physique. When I started in the gym, I had no idea what I was doing. But I was really lucky because I was able to work with a lot of old school bodybuilders who took me under their wing and they taught me how to train. Right now, I was lucky. That's an exception. A lot of people don't get that. But I never felt like I was being judged by people for not knowing what I was doing because I was new. Of course, I don't know what I'm doing. Right. It's like when you get hired at a new job, you're not going to know from day one all the protocols. You're not going to know how to do every single job that your description says that you need to do. So the same thing with the gym, right? So you should never feel like you're being judged, you're being ridiculed, because the reality is you're not. And anyone who is judging you, you know what? Fuck them. Sorry, but fuck them. Going back to Planet Fitness, when you talk about people, they're giving their clients like pastries or pizza and all this stuff because they want to reward them. I'm like, that to me, I would never do. I've mentioned this before. Don't reward yourself with food. Okay. Yes, you want to have a good relationship with food, but you shouldn't reward yourself with it. Right. You should be working out for yourself. You should be working out for better health, better physique. So you look better, you feel better, right? You can move better. You're prolonging your life, right? So you're giving yourself a better chance to ward off diseases, ward off certain viruses, right? So ward off certain cancers. So this is why we work out. Right? So there's no reason to reward yourself with food or to kick people out of your gym because they're lifting with heavy weights and they might be making noise. I agree with dropping the weights though. That would drive me insane too. You can still lift heavy weights and not drop the weights. Okay. But I mean, I think everyone should be able to train. Yes. I understand that some people do feel intimidated in gyms. I get it. But those people are the ones that usually will work with a trainer. And those people are the ones that usually will go to a private gym. I've worked with a few people over the years who were very overweight. And, one of the things that they wanted to do was schedule sessions with me on the floor during a more quiet time. So we would do that, whether that would be at 6 a.m. or whether it be at 6 o'clock at night when the gym's a little bit more quiet. But that's a service that you pay for, right? So I don't think it's wrong to have an inclusive gym that allows everyone to train. Of course, that's an atmosphere that we should all be supporting one another, right? We shouldn't be judging or ridiculing each other. Whenever I see someone in the gym who's pushing themselves and really, really trying their best, regardless if they're overweight or they're new, I always give them like a thumbs up and I'm like, yeah, keep going. Of course, that to me is motivating, right? So anyone who passes judgment or ridicules for someone for trying to improve themselves and improve the quality of their life, they're an asshole. Forget about them. Okay. So I think gyms should be inclusive to everyone, of course, regardless of your weight, your gender, your race. It doesn't matter. We all start from somewhere too. So remember that. Don't be embarrassed if you don't know how to do an exercise. My recommendation, again, if you are new to a gym, work with a trainer, join a small group class so you can learn proper form and technique. Then you'll feel even more confident when you're in the gym. Okay. But I think I'm answering this question correctly. To answer your question, yes, I think all gyms should be inclusive to everyone. Okay. I don't think they should be exclusive to just bodybuilders or people who do CrossFit or the super fit and good looking. No. Okay. I've always talked about the gyms I like to train at are the dirty dungeon gyms. I don't like those fancy gyms. I like dirty dungeon gyms. I want, some Metallica in the background, some gangster rap. That's what I like to work out to. I don't want to go into a gym where I feel like I'm going to break something. Right. So to me, that's the environment I like. And my gym, we don't judge anyone who comes in there. If anything, we support each other always. And that's the way it should be. Okay. We should be all supporting each other because we're all in this together. We're all trying to improve our health, transform our physiques, improve our overall quality of life. So why make fun of each other? Why judge each other? Enjoy the process. Nick, I've been doing a keto diet for 3 weeks now, and I love it. The problem is that I've been having difficulty going to the washroom for about 2 weeks now. Okay, this is a question I do get quite a bit. Again, this is very common with keto diets. Keto diets, they do work. Okay, yes, you will lose a lot of weight on them. But as I mentioned in the past, when you come off the keto diet, the weight will come back on. You're not asking about that right now, though. You're asking about constipation issues. So the reason why you're constipated is because you do not have enough fiber in your diet. One of the many negative impacts of a ketosis diet is that it does not pack enough fiber. Okay. So you've got to get fiber in your diet. Now, if you don't want to get your fiber in this from the source of carbohydrates, you have another option, and that's by getting your fiber in a supplement format. Okay, there's a supplement that I recommend called Fiber Smart. It's a powder. It also comes in pill format, but my recommendation is to take it in powder format. You can either mix it in water or you can sprinkle it on your food, use it for seasoning. It actually doesn't taste that bad, and that should work. Okay, I've had people ask me in the past, well, should I take Metamucil? No. Okay, do not take Metamucil. Metamucil does work, but it's not necessary because the only issue you're having right now is a fiber issue. You're not having difficulty going to the washroom because there's something wrong with your bowels. It's not because you have polyps, something wrong with your digestive tract. It's simply because you do not have enough fiber in your diet because you're following a ketosis diet. Okay, this is a very common issue and one I see quite often. Whenever I have used a keto diet, because I've talked about this in the past, where I have troubleshooted with keto diets from time to time, especially if my clients who are competing for the last like 1 or 2 weeks, if they're slightly behind schedule, I will use a ketosis diet to help them get down that as extra 3 or 4 pounds. But I use it sparingly. But whenever I put someone on a keto diet, I always incorporate the Fiber Smart to stop issues like this from occurring. Okay, so it doesn't have to be Fiber Smart, but you do want some type of fiber supplement. The reason I'm also recommending Fiber Smart to you is because you are on a ketosis diet and Fiber Smart doesn't contain any carbohydrates. So it's not going to knock you out of ketosis. Okay. So the supplement, once again, is called Fiber Smart. You can pick it up on Amazon or Supplements Canada, Supplement Source. If you're in the US, again, I would go to Amazon or whatever supplement company you have online there that you can purchase your supplements from. Okay. So it works really well. Don't take too much. I would take the recommended dosage of 1 to 2 times a day, and that should get you going back regular again. If it doesn't, you might want to rethink going on the keto diet. Okay. And remember too, if you are on a ketosis diet, you really want to stay on that diet for no longer, in my opinion, than 12 to 16 weeks. And that's really pushing it. Okay. You don't want to stay on it for life. No, the body doesn't need complex carbohydrates. This is true. The macronutrients that are essential are healthy fats and proteins for survival. But if you want for proper performance in the gym, glycogen storage, brain function, you need to have some complex carbohydrates in your diet. Okay. So I wouldn't stay on keto forever. I don't recommend keto for weight loss programs unless it's absolutely necessary. And if you are going to go on a keto diet, make sure you incorporate a fiber supplement, something like Fiber Smart, or as long as it has fiber, preferably psyllium fiber, you should be fine. Okay. But that will work. All right. Okay. Next question. Nick, I fractured my shoulder last weekend boating, and it hurts when I do certain movements. Should I take time off from the gym or keep training? I don't want to make it worse. Dealing with injuries suck, right? The thing you have to remember, though, is that you've got over 130 muscles that we can work in the gym, okay? 130 muscles. So if you've got one muscle, okay, say your left shoulder, that you can't train, you can't do lateral raises, you can't do shoulder presses, you can't do front raises. Hell, you can't even do bench press because the shoulder's so bad. Okay. You look at what you can do. Can you row? Most likely, yes. Can you do pull downs? Most likely, yes. You can pretty much do any back exercise with a fractured shoulder because all the movements are retracting. Can you do rear delt flies? Most likely, yes. Okay. Can you do abs? Of course. Can you do legs? Why not? Right? So there's other muscle groups that you can train. No, you might not be able to do a full shoulder workout or a full chest workout, but it shouldn't stop you from going to the gym. I talked about this a few weeks ago. I was dealing with really bad shoulder pain, and rarely do I ever get injured. And I still, to this day, don't even know how I injured that shoulder. I don't think it was in the gym. I think it was during my move, but I couldn't do certain movements. And rather than just not train, I'm just like, okay, well, let's reassess here. What can I do? Can I still squat? Of course. Can I lunge? Why not? So did my legs, back workouts, no issue whatsoever. Trained my abs. Certain chest movements did bother me. I couldn't press, but I could do flies. So I did different variations of flies, cable flies, incline flies, flat dumbbell flies. Shoulders, couldn't do shoulder press, but you know what? I could do shoulder raises. So I did shoulder raises. I was fine. And the issue went away. The problem is when people are injured and they ignore the issue and they're doing the exercises that are causing more problems. You have to listen to your body. So if your body is telling you, hey, I can't do upright rows right now because every time I do upright rows, that pain is excruciating. Don't do upright rows. Like, it sounds simple, but the amount of people that I see in the gym doing exercises that are causing more harm because they are dealing with an injury, it's ridiculous. I'll have people pop Advil before they train and say, well, it doesn't hurt so much. I'm like, well, because the ibuprofen is masking the pain. So don't do it because it's only going to get worse. Okay. So my recommendation, if you're dealing with an injury, reassess your workouts and figure out, okay, what can I do? What can't I do? And again, this comes down, if you are working with a trainer or coach, he or she will be able to troubleshoot. Because again, a trainer, a good trainer, knows basic anatomy and physiology and understands the human body and says, okay, you have a fracture in your anterior deltoid. We're not going to do any shoulder presses, but you know what? We might be able to do, as I mentioned earlier, front dumbbell raises. Maybe not. And if we can't do front dumbbell raises, why don't we try some lateral raises? And if we can't do lateral raises, why don't we try some rear delt raises? Oh, we can't do anything for the shoulders? No problem. Let's take 2 weeks off from training shoulders and let's still focus more on back. Let's still focus on core. Let's more focus on chest. Let's more focus on legs, hamstrings, glutes, so on. Okay. So remember, there are over, like I said, 130 muscles that you can train in the gym. Okay. I can think of over hundreds of exercises that you can do in the gym. And many of them have nothing to do with your shoulders whatsoever. So I would not recommend taking time off the gym unless you absolutely need it. Okay. If you're just mentally burnt out, that would be the only time, or just physically burnt out, that would be the only time I'd recommend taking time off the gym if you feel like you are overtrained. Okay. Because you don't want to suffer from adrenal fatigue, because that's very serious and that could lead to Instead of taking 2 weeks off, it could be 2 months, 2 years, and so on. Right? So you don't want to burn yourself out. So those are the only times I recommend people take a time off from the gym, is that they are still feeling like they're a little bit burnt out, whether it's mentally or physically, take time off. But if you're dealing with an injury, reassess your workout program and figure out what you can and cannot do, and stay consistent. Don't let yourself get discouraged, okay? Because I tell you what, it's really hard to come back from the gym the longer you take off. Ask anyone who's taken a period of time off from the gym. They'll tell you the first 1-2 weeks back are the most challenging. Not just the workouts, but just getting the motivation to get back in the gym. That itself is a challenge. So that's why I wouldn't recommend taking time off from the gym. All right. Okay. Nick, what's the best way to do cardio? Should I do it first thing in the morning, or does it make any difference when I do it? I'm getting conflicting information. Good question. So I come from the old school approach when it comes to cardio. At the end of the day, any type of cardio is going to be good for you, right? Because if you're not doing any cardio and you just start doing, say, 30 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day, it's going to be beneficial for you. But here's the thing. If you want to do it in the most efficient manner, the best times of day to do cardio are either first thing in the morning in a fasted state. So you wake up, you do your cardio before your weights, before you eat breakfast, or immediately after your weight training sessions, okay? The reason why I recommend people do this, and a lot of guys and women will recommend people do this from the old school approach, is because when you are performing cardio in either a fasted state first thing in the morning or immediately after your workout, you're utilizing fat as your primary fuel source. Now, this is true. There is science backing this. Okay, I know there's a lot of these new generation Zers out there saying no, just do cardio anytime, a type of day. And listen, I know I've used this. It works. Okay. Will it work doing cardio any other time of the day? Sure. But will you lose fat as fast? Probably not. Okay. Because I've seen it done time and time again with people I've worked with. Hell, I used to do it for bodybuilding shows. And it's like, if you can burn fat in a more efficient manner, in a more quicker manner, why won't you take that manner? It again comes down to working smarter, not harder, right? So when you're using fat as your primary fuel source, you're going to burn more fat. Okay. If you do cardio after you've had breakfast, well, your body's utilizing those calories from your breakfast to burn through that cardio. So you have that energy to get through that run or get through that bike ride or get through that elliptical trainer, step mill, whatever it is. So that's why I wouldn't recommend eating and then doing cardio. Okay. So if you do it first thing in the morning, you're in a fasted state. If you do it immediately after your weight training session, you're almost in a fasted state because most of the calories that you use from 1 or 2 meals prior to weight training session were used up during your weight training session. Okay. So I understand there's conflicting reports. And I know that the new age is always out there trying to say, well, try this or that. And look, I'm not against new methods. I'm always open to new concepts and new methods. I think it would be ignorant of me not to be, but I do know what works, and this works. And if we know something works and it can be done in a very efficient manner and a safe manner, why not do it? Right? So will you still lose body fat if you just start doing cardio and are doing it after lunch or after breakfast, after dinner? Yeah, you will. But you'll lose more fat in a more quicker and efficient manner if you do it at those times of day that I'm telling you to do them at. So either first thing in the morning in a fasted state or immediately after your weight training session. Okay. Okay. Nick, I hate going to the gym. I find it boring and don't know what to do when I'm there. I would like to build some muscle though. I was wondering if I can do this by buying some dumbbells and just doing a few home workouts each week. Yeah. Again, I've never been a big fan of the home workouts because I find that when you're at home, it's distracting. Okay. I know that for me, I would never want to train at home. My home is like my sanctuary. The last thing I want to see is a dumbbell in my house. Okay. But I also work in a gym, so it's a little bit different for me. But I also find that my home is not a motivating place for me to want to work out. I want to be in a gym. I want to be around people. I want to be around the weights. I want to be around the squat racks. I want loud music. That's me. Okay. Now, if you find that you're able to stay disciplined and stay focused at home, sure. But you have to remember, if you only have a selection of dumbbells to use, you're really only going to get so far with your physique. Because as I mentioned in the past, in order to build a very well-balanced, symmetrical physique, you want to have access to not just dumbbells, but you want to have access to barbells, squat racks, cables, Bosu balls, Swiss balls, kettlebells, right? These are things that will help enhance your physique. So if all you have are dumbbells, you're limiting your options, okay? So yes, you will put on some muscle. How much muscle? Well, that will depend on how often you're training, right? Your genetics, how disciplined you are with your diet. But really, when it comes down to how much, the sky's the limit. But if you're in a gym where you have access to more equipment, you're only going to enhance your physique even further, right? So if you're finding it difficult to get to the gym, my recommendation would be to either get a personal trainer, join a group class, find a friend or family member that you can train with, someone that will hold you accountable for your workouts. Because it sounds to me like you're just lacking that accountability, which begs the question is, how consistent will you be at home? If you already lack that accountability, just because now you have dumbbells at home, it might make it easier because now you don't have to go to the gym, but it's very easy to put that off too. When you're home, you're relaxing, you might be sitting on the couch, watching some TV, watching Netflix, playing on the computer, and oh yeah, I got to go work out. And you keep putting it off, right? You keep procrastinating. So I've never found that home workouts to be that effective. During COVID, people didn't have a choice. But I tell you what, a lot of people who were doing these home workouts during COVID, once COVID ended, they were right back in the gym because they saw the benefits of being in a fully equipped gym. So those were extreme circumstances. You had to use what you only had available to you, which back then was pretty much, if you were lucky, to get a pair of dumbbells. But now that COVID has passed, or at least things are open again, you can train in the gym. So if you're lacking that motivation to get to a gym, as I said, hire a trainer, join a group class, find someone, a training partner that will hold you accountable, that will train with you day in and day out, and make sure you don't miss those workouts, okay? So yeah, you'll get decent results, but you won't get as good results if you were to actually join a gym and have more access to, as I mentioned, all that equipment: dumbbells, barbells, squat racks, cables, Bosu balls, Swiss balls, kettlebells, etc. All right. Last question. Nick, what do you do when a client is not getting results? Do you recommend they train more or diet harder? I've stopped progressing in the gym and I don't know what I should do. Okay, so this will depend on the client, right? If I have a client that has not been progressing, whether it be with their physique, with their cardiovascular endurance, with their health, then I have to start looking at A, how often is this client training? B, how hard is this client training? C, what is their supplement protocol looking like? D, and one of the most important things, what is their nutritional plan working like, right? I have a lot of people that train really hard in the gym. Like when they're in the gym, I'm not worried about them. They push it. But as soon as they leave the gym, they're off to McDonald's. They're grabbing something, donut or muffin from Tim Hortons. They're not taking their diet as seriously as they're taking their training. And I always tell people, when you do that, you're moving one step forward, one step back. So you might progress a little bit, but you'd progress so much more if you cleaned up your diet. And then I have people who I work with who've got really good diets. Like some of their diets are better than my diets. But then when they train with like lackluster energy. I'm like, come on, pump it up. You can increase your weights. You can decrease your rest periods. So it really comes down to the person that I'm working with, right? And I'm not just talking about people I work with in-house. I'm talking with some people I work with online too. And that's where I've got to put my foot up their ass and go, we need to push it, okay? Because you're not progressing. You stopped losing weight. You stopped putting on muscle, right? You're not feeling good, right? You're not sleeping well, right? Your intensity in the gym is down. Your performance at work is down. So these are things that we need to improve. And we know we can improve by increasing your training intensity, perhaps even increasing your training frequency, but also cleaning up that diet. Okay. So it really depends on the person I'm working with. Now, some people, you can't change them, right? There's going to be people that will always show up 20 minutes late for a workout. There's going to be people that always want to leave 10 minutes early from a workout. There's going to be people that no matter how much you try to educate them on dietary nutrition, they're still going to order in from Taco Bell. They're still going to order from McDonald's. They're still going to order from KFC. So it's really, it comes down to, as a trainer, you do the best you possibly can to educate your clients, not necessarily discipline your clients and nag your clients and wave your finger at your clients, but educate them and say, look, this is why you're not progressing. Okay. So if you want to continue to progress, this is what you need to do. And sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's the training, sometimes it's the diet, sometimes it's a combination of the two, right? But there usually is a reason. Okay. Hey, sometimes it's the trainer, right? If you have a trainer that's giving you the same workout every day or is not pushing you to increase your weights when he or she knows you can increase your weights, then that's the trainer, right? And I've seen that before. A lot of trainers just want their clients to feel comfortable in the gym. And I always tell my clients, I don't want you to feel comfortable in the gym. Not at all. I want you to push yourself. Okay. If you don't want to push yourself, don't work with me. Okay. Because my job is to motivate you to push yourself harder so that you can see and feel results. If I'm not doing that, then I'm not doing my job. So you ask any of my clients whether they work with me in-house or online, they'll tell you there's no such thing as a comfortable workout. The workouts are hard. The workouts are intense. And that's how the workouts need to be. You ask any clients that work with me on their nutritional plan, and they'll tell you, I can be quite lenient, quite flexible when it comes to dietary nutrition, but for the most part, I'm very disciplined when it comes to the meal plans, how we incorporate cheat meals, how often we incorporate cheat meals, but I will work with clients and I will compromise on certain foods, okay? Because I understand that dietary nutrition is a very difficult thing for a lot of people, okay? So I don't just put everyone on chicken and brown rice, or I don't have everyone eat like I eat. Yes, I have some clients that actually don't mind eating the way I eat, but for the most part, most people want some more variation in their meal plans. They want to have that variety so that they can go out and have something at a restaurant, but you can still eat clean, you can still eat healthy. Okay, so again, this will depend on the individual I'm working with, but there usually is a reason why someone has stopped seeing results or feeling results. Okay, and like I said, sometimes it's a diet, sometimes it's the training, sometimes it's the trainer. Once you figure out what the culprit is, though, you address it and then you troubleshoot and you say, okay, we got to tweak this, revise this, change this, boom. And then you start seeing results again, feeling results again. Okay. So that's what it comes down to. Anyway, this episode will be going up on Monday, July the 29th. As a reminder, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, workout program, supplements you are currently taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting my YouTube channel, my online coaching business, and my in-house personal training business. I really do appreciate all the support. Thank you all again and have a great week. Bye for now.